Welcome to the Teapot Reads. My name's Sam. I'm the Teapot. This is the manga I am currently reading, and I'm so happy to see you today. Hello and welcome. If you're new here, I do seasonal or quarterly wrap-ups for both manga and regular reading because I am a fairly slow reader and it's just makes more sense for me to do seasonal wrap-ups. So this is my seasonal reading wrap-up for manga for the months of June, July, and August. I am filming this in August, but we're near the end of the month. I do think I will definitely be finishing this season, but for sure it'll show up in the next wrap-up if that is the case. I'm loving this. It's so cute. This is such a charming little series, and no, I'm not 100% what I'll read next, but we'll get into the TBR. This season probably had my best reading, in quantity for manga that I've hit ever. So I feel kind of really good about that, actually, I'm not gonna lie. And it's really just helped rekindle my love of manga. I don't think I've bought too many volumes this season. I actually played it really chill like that. I've been trying to read what I have, as well as if I buy it, I read it almost immediately. Although I know I'm going to start hoarding it soon because there are so many series I want to add to my collection. So I'm still going to try to be a little better about it. But yeah, definitely expect to see the amount of unread manga on my manga pile, which you can't really see because of where exact location I'm filming it. But you can expect to see the unread manga kind of grow. And you're probably wondering, why is the shelf mostly empty? I actually did some reorganization on my shelves and I made a little more room for books. Yay! And so this is just empty. It's holding. I'm gonna do my reading wrap up. So that's a teaser for that if you're curious. That'll be coming out next week. So I've finished 14 volumes of manga over the course of the last 3 months, which, like I said, is really good for me. Typically, I'll do I want to say anywhere between 9 and 12 on the high end. So 14 really is great. 2, 3, 4, 5 of them? Yeah, 5 of them are new series that I started. I only really feel super strongly about one of them. But first, and these aren't strictly in order, but first it was Sakamoto Days Volume 1, which, if you saw my last wrap-up, is actually the one I was reading at the time. I really enjoyed this. I want to say I gave it 4 stars, which is pretty much an average rating for manga for me, unless I really disliked it. It's cute. It's really good. It is about Mr. Sakamoto, who owns a convenience store, but was once one of the greatest hitmen, if not the greatest hitman of all time. And someone comes to try to get him out of retirement, but it doesn't quite work. And his wife is like, you can't kill any more people or we'll get a divorce. So he refuses to kill people. It's really cute. It's really good. I really enjoy it. It's fun. It's very good if you're a fan of Way of the House Husband, which I am. The only thing I dislike are the amount of fat jokes. Are we not past that at all? Please, can we get past that? Please. But like I said, Volume 1, I did really enjoy it. I'm definitely going to be continuing on with this series. This was written by Yuto Suzuki. Yeah, it's cute. I also really like the art. Just has a sort of charming, I guess vintagey or classic manga and anime art style vibes to it, which I'm kind of digging. So I do have volumes 2 and 3, which is as far as it's out in English right now. I haven't picked them up yet though. Then I read Seaside Stranger. This is volume 1, which was, I think, originally a standalone and then it was continued. The subtitle is Umibe no Étranger. Okay. This is by Ki Kana. It is a BL, I think. Is that? I'm so bad with genres of manga. It is gay, which was one of the reasons I picked it up. Also, it just seemed really charming. Basically, so this one is Shun, and this is Mio. Yeah. So Shun was going to get married, and then he's gay, and he, came out, and the marriage fell through, and his parents basically were like, you're not part of the family anymore, and he went to go live on an island with some more distant relatives, where he was accepted and was able to pursue his career as a writer. And then Mio his parents died and he was left an orphan, and the two meet right before Mio is going to leave the island to continue school. And then several years later, he comes back and is like, hey, let's actually continue on with that relationship that almost started. So it is really cute. The art, some of my favorite art, probably of all time. Like, living for it. It's just really pretty. It's very much the art style that I adore. And I really wish I could say that about everything else in this story. It is charming, and that the island is a really charming place, and I would love to run away and live on an island like this and just live like a simple life. Not in the position to do that right now. Maybe someday. I really disliked the age gap. There's quite a big age gap in between them. Shun meets Mio when Mio is still in high school, and Shun is an adult. I was uncomfortable the entire time because of that. I also thought, and I think it's a translation problem, it was really hard to follow sometimes who was speaking and who they were speaking about, and that made it really hard to really form connections with the characters or to appreciate the connections that were like forming between characters. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a DNF for me. I don't really want to unhaul it yet, but I'm also not eager to continue the series. It's still kind of floating in the maybe territory though. Just sort of a maybe book. Very summery. If you're looking for a good summer read, well, I guess it's not a good read, but like a summery read, that's probably the one you want. Also, I did some rereading this season. I talked about in my last wrap up that I really wanted to reread and catch up on this series, and I did the first 3 volumes, and that is Noragami. This series is by Adachi Toka. I love this series. This is basically my OG, the one that I go to, the nostalgia, the comfort. I love it. I think it's in its final arc, which is heartbreaking because that means at some point I'm going to run out of volumes, but I have quite a few to reread. I think I got through volume 19 or something when I was reading it the first time, and I was reading it as they were coming out, and I just have no patience in between wait sometimes. So I have been rereading. These were so fun. These were so good to return to. I had so many emotions going through them again, and it moves a lot quicker than I remembered, in a good way, in a good way. This is about Yato. He is a god. He is a homeless god with really big aspirations. He's kind of selfish. He seemingly doesn't have a lot of worth in the world of the gods. And then there is Hiyori, who thinks she's saving a normal human when she pushes him out of the way of a bus, but turns out he is a god. And she ends up sort of with her soul half hanging out of her body, and sometimes she like drops out of it. So she is kind of opened to this world of gods and ghosts and monsters, and she makes a wish with Yato. She's like, fix me, and he's like, yeah, sure, but dawdles on that. There's also Yukine. Here we go. He is Yato's Shinki, which is basically a magical weapon. Yato is both in charge of taking care of Yuki. Yuki is a dead spirit who died like purely, right? And he's basically in charge of taking care of Yuki, but Yuki is also in some regard in charge of taking care of Yato. The 3 make up a really good squad of characters, and yeah, it was just such a pleasure to return to these. They were rereads, so I didn't rate them, but I do highly recommend this series. It is just so good, and I fear it is slept on. Another series I absolutely love is Way of the House Husband. I read volumes 5 and 6 this season. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. I will say I'm not getting like tired of it, but I am really hoping that like something new and big is going to like happen in it, because it's not that like it's getting like boring. I don't want it. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just that it's like getting somewhat almost too comfortable, that it's going to be veering into predictable territory soon. So we'll see. I don't know, maybe just like a new character would spice it up, but I do love these so very much. This series is by Kusuke Uno, and just so good. This is about Tatsu. I always forget his name. Tatsu is a house husband now, but once he was the immortal dragon, a really violent and dangerous member of the Yakuza, but he puts all of that same passion he had for Yakuza work into being a house husband. Just 5 stars all around. Super charming, slice of life, very funny. The first volume took me by storm. I didn't think I was going to love it as much as I did, and I have not looked back. If you're looking to get into manga, this is one of my go-to recommendations because it's very easy to swallow. You don't have to remember much plot. There aren't too many characters that you're getting confused, and it's really funny, really charming, really solid story. Another first volume I started, Bungo Stray Dogs. This is by, the story is by Kafka Asagiri, and the art is by Sangu Harukawa. This is about a magical detective agency where the characters are given powers based on literary writers and characters, because there's at least one based off a character. I'm probably going to just not continue with this one. I was so excited for it way back when it was coming out originally. I was like, wow, that sounds really good, right up my alley. And maybe if I had read it then, I would have been so for it. But this is a long series. I don't think I'm interested in continuing. Again, like Seaside Stranger, I'm not sure I want to unhaul it quite yet. I'm just not really eager to continue on with it at the moment. The art also didn't really take me. I was just like, it's okay. I've seen so much better art, and there are a lot more interesting stories, but it does have a really passionate fan base, which is kind of what's got me almost hesitant to give up on it completely, because maybe it does get really good in volume 2 or volume 3. So we're really going to see on this one. I also thought it was really uncomfortable that one of the protagonists, Osamu Dazai, is his gag is he's always trying to kill himself. In real life, the real Osamu Dazai did kill himself. So that was just sort of also a really uncomfortable thing for me. So yeah, Bungo Stray Dogs is a maybe. Here's a series I'm definitely going to continue on and liked a lot more than I thought I would. This is Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 1. You've probably heard of it. It is one of the biggest series happening right now, and rightfully so. Volume 1 was not necessarily my favorite volume of manga I've ever read, but it was a great start to it. And I only had a really, really brief idea about what this book was about. So when he ate the finger, I was like, what? You just ate a finger? What the hell is happening? Yeah, in a really good way. This is by Gege Akutami. It's about, can we also just look at how cute that is. I love that. This is about monster fighters, kind of. You know what? I'm just going to read the back because there's a lot in volume 1. In a world where cursed spirits feed on unsuspecting humans, fragments of the legendary and feared demon Ryomen Sukuna have been lost and scattered about. Should any demon consume Sukuna's body parts, the power they gain could destroy the world as we know it. Fortunately, there exists a mysterious school of jujutsu sorcerers who exist to protect the precarious existence of the living from the supernatural. Although Yuji Itadori looks like your average teenager, his immense physical strength is something to behold. Every sports club wants him to join, but Itadori would rather hang out with the school outcasts and the occult research club. One day the club manages to get their hands on a sealed cursed object. Little do they know the terror they'll unleash when they break the seal. Basically, they break the seal, the jujutsu sorcerers are called. Itadori ends up eating a finger from Sukuna, and he gains powers because of it and joins the ranks of the jujutsu sorcerers, or at least training to join their ranks. It was a lot of fun. It was funny. It was macabre. Really thought it was just such a solid start to the series. I don't feel like I have to rush through it, but I am definitely going to be continuing the series. I'm probably following it to its end. I'm thinking one a season or so is probably really a realistic goal for how quickly I'll be reading them. One of my favorite series, this started off with such bad vibes, which is another reason I'm willing to sit on Bungo Stray Dogs and Seaside Stranger. More so Bungo Stray Dogs. Because volume 1 of the series, I hated. I was like, this is so bad. Why do people like it? And then volume 2 completely changed my mind. And that is Frieren Beyond Journey's End. I love this series. It is so good. It is so close to my heart. Every time a new volume comes out, I get so excited about it. Volume 5 was no exception. It was just amazing. And I love this influx of new characters we're getting. They're so, so interesting. Frieren follows Frieren, who is an elf. Elves in this world are not immortal, but they have huge, long lifespans. And it's a world, I would say, very Tolkien-esque and very D&D-esque. That's definitely what it's calling and recalling for the reader. So Frieren was part of a party that destroyed the evil bad guy, right? The big boss at the end. And after they came back successful, they were held as heroes. but all of her party members have pretty much died at this point, and Frieren is on her own, and she realizes that in her long lifespan, she really didn't take the time to really appreciate what she had in those party members. So she started a new little party with Fern, who, yes, is on the cover, and Stark, who is not on the cover, and she's not only getting to know them, but has become with them embroiled in a new sort of quest. And in this volume, Frieren and Fern are training or competing to get, like, a degree in, like, magic. It's kind of hard to explain without going further into it. The only downside of this one really was how little Stark there was on the page. I understand that he's really not a part of this arc, but I really would like to see him more because he's a fun character. And I felt so bad for him. A lot of the, like, title art was, like, Stark just doing his own thing. I'm like, that's so sad. Let's see. So here's, like, him with them at some point. And then, maybe it's not as much as I remember. But I remember just feeling, like, so bad for Stark. Here we go. Here's a Stark all alone. Okay. I'm, like, misremembering how many, like, title art pages he had, I guess. But yeah, I just really wish he could have been in it a little more. And you saw I was reading volume 2. I did finish volume 1 of Daily Report About My Witch Senpai. This is by Maka Machida. Oh my god, so freaking cute. So cute. Definitely 5 stars. Did not think I was going to love it as much as I did. I was really hoping I would. Like, in my heart, I was like, man, I hope I love this. I hope I love this. I did. I loved it. It was so nice, especially because so many had disappointed me this season. Bungo Stray Dogs, Seaside Stranger, just were not giving what I needed them to. This gave what I needed and more. It is a shame it's only 2 volumes because it is so cute. Oh my god, it's adorable. So, so we have, Misono, they work in the same office. There's Misono and Shizuka. Shizuka, and she's a witch, which is, like, not an abnormal thing, but it is, like, super uncommon, basically, in this version of the world. But otherwise, it's, like, mostly the same world that we live in. And he just, like, has a crush on her, and she starts to develop a crush back. And it's broken down into these little interactions and meetings they have, and I think that each one is called an encounter. Yeah, they're just, like, different encounters that they have, which doesn't, like, stay super strict as it continues. And they both deal with, like, realistic things, and it's very short, it's very slim, but I liked how much emotion was packed in and how much character growth, and the pacing actually worked really well for me. For the amount of time that is passing, the pacing I thought was on point. I also adored the art. I mean, the cover is a pretty good indication, but it is so cute and so charming. Like, I was living for this art. So yeah, loved it. Probably the best surprise of the season was how much I enjoyed this, just, like, beginning to end. Definitely one I'll be keeping in my collection forever, basically. It also, I am not going to say it gave Ghibli vibes necessarily, but it did have a little bit of Kiki's Delivery Service in here, and I'm always looking for things with that kind of vibe. You guys are gonna be so proud of me. I read another volume of Sweat and Soap. I read volume 10. That means just one more to go. No, I did not have it in me to finish this series this season. So I've been dragging feet. This one was really good. Definitely not my favorite volume, but I do like a lot of ground that was covered. They are officially engaged in this volume, which was very sweet. And I loved the family dinner portion, especially getting to see Sako's brother, whose name I'm totally blanking, but it's okay. It was really cute. This is also coincidentally my least favorite cover. I think it's just very bland to me. This on the back is delightful, though. The series is basically just a rom-com. It is following Asako and Kotaro. They meet at work. She sweats a lot and loves the soap, and he's the lead soap designer. And they meet at first. She's just helping him, and then they kind of form a connection, becomes a crush, becomes a relationship. Very sweet. All the drama in these are very realistic drama. Nothing feels concocted just to concoct it. Everything felt very grounded in reality and felt like a real issue. This is like a series I recommend any 20-something or 30-something who is into manga read. Even if you're not super into rom-coms, it's just like strikes you. Like, I was like, oh, relevant. Okay, very cool. Not much more to say. I've talked about the series a lot. I would like to do a review on the series when I finish volume 11. I've never reviewed a manga series, so I'd love to. Don't hold me to it, but I would like to do that. And then the final 2 volumes I read were Toilet Bound Hanako-kun volumes 14 and 15. I did not realize these were coming out so close together. I thought I had a couple more months before this one, but then I saw it show up at work and I was like, oh, I have to buy that immediately. I hadn't had it pre-ordered because I'm just moving to a different store. So I was like, I'll pre-order it at the new store, thinking I had time. I did not have time. So good. I will say, I was confused at the end of this volume and I had to Google. I was like, what just happened? This volume cleared it up a little, but I was like, what's going on? This arc that they're going into, I'm kind of frightened. I'm really excited, but I'm kind of frightened. It feels like a closing arc. I don't think it is, but lots of thoughts. Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, which has possibly the worst title of any manga ever. I'm sorry, I just hate it. I love it. It's like, I love it now, but I like hate it. And trying to get someone who doesn't know anything about manga to read this series because of that title, very difficult, I think. Anyway, my mini rant over. Hanako-kun is about Hanako, who is a spirit haunting the girls' restroom because, of course, why not, right? And Nene, I have no idea how to say her name. Nene Yashiro, she basically makes a wish and conjures Hanako-kun, and he's like, yeah, I'll grant your wish, and then that goes poorly, so he's like, I'll help you, you just have to help me a lot more and be my assistant. And it turns out that she's a very helpful assistant because she has a very unique skill set that Hanako needs. And they basically have misadventures, especially with Ko, who is a exorcist in training, and his storyline is like one of my favorites, but it keeps getting sidelined, and I wish it wouldn't. I would like Ko to just have some page time, give him his own arc, especially in this volume. He just like wasn't. I don't think he was in it at all. I was like, where is he the entire time? He is in this one, and it looks like he's going to be really prominent going into the next couple volumes, and I really hope that's true because I do really love him. And I like him when he's on the page, but when he's missing, it really highlights just how much I love his character and how important it is. So that's the wrap up for what I read. I want to go through a quick TBR. I will say I am happy with the amount I read, and I'm happy that I tried a couple new series. I just wish I felt stronger about Bungo or Seaside. I just don't. We'll see. We'll just see. They were just such dark spots, I think. And I liked Jujutsu Kaisen a lot, and I liked Sakamoto Days a lot, and I love Daily Report of My Witch Senpai. But like Daily Report only has one more volume, which I'm nearly done with. And the other two, I like them a lot, but I don't feel like obsessed with them. And I really just want to dive into another series I can be like obsessed with, I think. Quick TBR. I think I have a couple coming out. Yeah, so Freerun, I had to write it down because I forgot last time. Freerun Volume 6 comes out in October. Obviously, we'll be reading that right away. I'm super excited for it. But other than that, I'm not sure what's coming out. There might be a new volume of Spy Family, but I didn't remember to check that. But definitely Freerun. I would like to continue with my Noragami reread with volumes 4, 5, and 6. Definitely going into that. It's going into one of my less favorite arcs, but the arc after this is my favorite arc. So I am really excited about that. And I don't dislike this arc. It's just not my favorite. But rereading. So I'm really excited about that. I know I'm going to enjoy it because I love those anyways. I would also like to continue with Sakamoto Days. I will definitely be reading volume 2. I don't know for sure if I'll read volume 3, but I might just do them back to back because sometimes it's really enjoyable. It was so good to be able to do that with Hanako-kun this like last season. It was just really great to do them back to back. So I might But I'm not certain exactly when, just that it will happen this season because I don't want to get too far behind. A couple books that have been showing up on my TBR for ages. Yeah, volume 3 of Girl from the Other Side. I've just got to do it. It is definitely a spooky book, so reading it close to Halloween feels appropriate. If I don't read it this season, guys, it's going off the TBR, and I am probably going to unhaul books 1 and 2. That's the hard truth, I think. And then finally, yes, Sweat and Soap Volume 11. This might be the first one I start with going into the new season. Like, I might dive right into it post Daily Report of My Witch Senpai Volume 2, just so that I can finish it and really consider whether I want to do that review. This is my favorite cover, and I love that it wraps around. Just so sweet, just so... Can't believe we're here. Oh my god, this story is so good. And 2 other spooky reads. This one's been showing up on the TBR for ages. It's definitely happening. I'm so excited for it. This is Witch Hat Atelier Volume 1. It's gonna happen. I am stoked to start it. The only reason this keeps getting pushed off is because I'm like, no, I know I'm gonna love it. And then like, I just don't read it because I know I'm going to love it. And then one that I've been considering getting rid of, but I think this would be the season to read it, and I think this will be fair. This is Phantom Tales of the Night. It seems very spooky, very Halloween-y, so hopefully I read it this season. This is one that if I probably don't read it by the end of the year, I will probably just end up unhauling it, just because I'm not super eager to get to it anymore. I would also really like to continue Jujutsu Kaisen and Way of the House Husband, get the next volumes of each of those. And I would like to start Chainsaw Man. I don't have volume 1. We just got it in at work. I want to grab it. I forgot to do it the other day when I was in. I was like, oh shit. But we had plenty of copies last I checked. So hopefully, knock on wood, we haven't run out. I would really like to start Chainsaw Man. And like I said, I really think that this season is going to be a season of me picking up new series that catch my eye and just kind of letting myself start a lot of new stuff. I'm not interested in being caught in bad series that I don't like. I don't want to start collecting series until I know I like them. So you'll see a lot of volume 1s, I think, moving forward at the end of this season. And hopefully I'll have a lot to report and be like, I love this, I love this, I love this. As always, if you have recommendations, please leave them down below, especially based off what I've told you today. I'm looking for new series. I'm just, my love of manga has been rekindled. It's been great. If you're somewhere cold, I hope you're staying warm. If you're somewhere warm, I hope you're staying comfortable. And most of all, I hope you're reading a great book. I will see you guys next time. Bye!